is still not optimal. The facilitation of judiciary at the budget level is still not optimal. So that there are many things that judiciary would want to do that are still not possible because of the financing.
The budgetary allocation is one.
Yes.
Two.
It still looks like even now as judiciary and judicial officers, judges, even as we make decisions, because decisions keep coming from Superior Court mostly, you still hear complaints. So that although we have written it in black and white in our constitution that judiciary shall be independent, it begins to look like it's not something we all accepted as Kenyans. There is an extent, there is an independence that everyone will not swallow. There are still either individuals or institutions or agencies that would want to do what judiciary is doing. So I think there is still that there are no clear-cut boundaries as to where independence reaches or where other agencies or persons can interfere.
Lack of awareness.
Yes.
Respect of the constitution by the others.
Yes.
I can do with that. I will take you to still the constitution on the enforcement of the Bill of Rights. Just let the commissioners know what kind of orders you can give under Article 22 to enforce the Bill of Rights.
Thank you. The High Court can give can make declarations of infringement or violation of the Constitution, can grant conservatory orders, orders of injunctions. They can give orders of judicial review. There's a list under Article 23 that it's not exhaustive, it includes those ones. And recently there was a decision that the court can also give appropriate remedy that may not be listed there, including structural interdicts.
Okay. You can also issue judicial review.
Yes.
And an order of compensation. Right. You will be brought applications to declare a statute unconstitutional. What are the guiding principles when you have to declare a statute unconstitutional?
The first thing that the court takes note of is that there is presumption of constitutionality. Mm-hmm. And then having seen that, then compare that statute, the statute that is being challenged, with the provision, the article of the Constitution that is said to flout, and see what it is that is said to be in contravention of the Constitution.
Okay, thank you. You will also seek to understand what informed that particular statute.
Yes, the context and the history, what led to the enactment, which will lead you to know what the meant.
Thank you very much, Justice
Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one question to ask you. We enacted the Children's Act of 2022. Yes. You are aware of it?
Yes.
Just tell us what new development it made from the previous law.
The Children's Act tried in a big way to bring to bring the law in line with the Article 53 of the Constitution.
Any specific provisions?
Because that was in terms of the best interest of the child. It looked at adoptions and decided that the way we've been doing them may be harming these children more than benefiting them. So kinship adoption was brought in.
That's number one.
It also looked at criminal capability, what we've been saying, we're taking our children through, the children who are in conflict with the law, and raised it from 8 to 12.
Okay. And lastly? It expanded the right of the child.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Your Honor, Mr. Kimezi, I have a few questions. In your CV, you said one of the achievements was to write sound judgment writing.
Yes.
Yes. In that context, what are the principles you apply when you are writing your rulings and judgment in terms of the structure and analysis and finally your orders?
For judgment, my Lord Commissioner, because having had the parties, I set out what the claim is set out in the pleadings. Then I capture the evidence as given by the parties. I also set out the law applicable to this case. And from that law and the facts as brought out by the parties, I am able to distill the issues for determination. It is those issues for determination when I go through them in a logical manner that I'm able now to determine the issues and give my determination.
I read your article on SACCOs, critical analysis of Kenya's legal framework for deposit taking SACCOs. What made you write that article? And I must say it's a very well written document. I thought you could make a very good teacher than a judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. This article, I wrote it because I wrote my LLM when I was chairman of the Cooperative Tribunal. And what we noticed was that the reason many Kenyans were coming to the tribunal was because, not because these were really real cases, but because of mismanagement. There is a lot of, lack of accountability.
Was that your paper for the...
Yes, what you see is an abridged version. I wrote this because it's an abridged version of my thesis.
Okay.
So I wrote the thesis. The thesis, of course, is longer, trying to address the problems that SACCOs have faced. I saw a lot of, the problem, the lack of information in the cooperative movement, where people just elect committee members and leave them to just run with their money wherever they want.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment that. Now, I want to deal with one specific judgment you wrote, or ruling, sample writing number 3. As you are aware, part of the writing skills that one has is not only the structure and the way you have just told me now, how you analyze and find that and gradually reach your decision, but it's also how you arrange your judgment.
Yes.
And that's part of the judgment writing skills. Why did you, in that case, go not to call the complainant first, which is the practice? The usual way is the complainant must testify first, lay out his case before you call witnesses. But you call the witness first before the complainant, the document examiner.
I say this, maybe I don't remember the specific, but
You call the case of criminal case number 485 of 2017,
yes.
case number 3 on your list.
In that case, I would think this is a situation that arises a lot for practical reasons in our court. Document examiners are very hard to get to court. So on a situation where you find maybe this document examiner, we've been asking for him to come many occasions, and then it happens on the date when he's in court, for some reason the complainant has not come. So I would rather we hear him and release him, because what he is doing, just coming to say this is the handwriting of this person, is not something that is really tied to the complainant. The complainant can come and identify the other documents and give this story, but a document examiner, especially if you are in Kirongoya and places like that, is not someone you want to release when you see him in court. So I would think that would be the reason.
In the same judgment, you referred to a decision and you quoted a passage by Justice Babea, and you quoted the case Joseph Wanyoni Mafuklo versus Republic, and you said that you found that passage apt and you relied on it, but you never quoted. You're talking to the stakeholders, the parties. You didn't tell them what Justice Mabea said. How do you know, how do they know what Mabea said?
I think I've paraphrased somewhere where you were saying that the criminal process should not be used to pursue civil debts. I did not reproduce the passage, but I referred to it.
Okay, finally, in the judgment, in your sample item number 4, you are awarding costs. You are awarding costs, and it is discretion to give cost or to say it's part of the cost. But you use these words. The matter is basically between a sister and a brother. The second and third defendants got it through the brother. The order that commends itself to me is that each party bears their own cost. Why should an order comment to you? Why not you saying that I think that this is a family matter?
I think in those many words, Commissioner, that's all I will say. That it's a matter between a brother and sister, and even that other side, those two others who are in the matter are on the side of one of the siblings.
Okay, thank you very much. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning once again.
Good morning, Commissioner.
I also have a few questions for you. What is your approach to deciding cases?
Sorry?
What is your approach to deciding cases? In terms of philosophy?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, do you think it's improper to have a judicial philosophy?
I think it's proper. It's proper to have a judicial philosophy. And my philosophy is I would tend toward the sociological school, and I am pragmatic in the decisions that I make. Although I think in our jurisdiction, our philosophy, the way we decide cases and the way we interpret whether it's the constitution.
But what about you as a person before going to the...
Mine is I try as much as possible to look at the law as serving the people and using it for that purpose. So I'm more of a pragmatic jurist.
Okay, and do you think it is necessary for people to have their philosophies known as a judge or a judicial officer?
I think it is.
Why is that?
I think because we make decisions that affect over livelihoods or people's property, and therefore it's important. It's important for one to have a way of handling things so that it is known, there's no deviation. One day you're doing this, the other one you're doing that. There's a bit of predictability in the way you do things. I think that's key.
And based on the decision you have shared, can we say you are predictable?
I would say so.
Okay. Among the decisions you have shared is one on the one Judge Ibrahim mentioned, the land matter between a brother and a sister. That's sample writing number 4, Joyce Wambeti Kiura versus Peter Mugo and 2 others. If you allow me to just summarize, the fact is, the allegation is that the sister bought land from person B and had the land registered in her brother's name, but she retained the title deed. The brother later disposed of the land without her consent or information. The initial purchaser, the initial seller, appeared in court on behalf of the sister and gave evidence to confirm that indeed it is the sister who gave money to him and he sold the land to the sister. However, in your decision you took note that the land is registered in the brother's name, so the sister did not have any interest, including trust. What are your views on overriding interest to land?
My view is that even when one says they have trust, the trust should be, in their favor. They will have to bring evidence. It's a matter of fact. And in that case, apart from her saying so, all the other transactions around that property had sale agreements. And if there was land moving from the seller to the person who's registered, and one person is saying, I gave money, the other one is saying it was sold to me and I'm registered, that person, there will be a presumption that the person who is registered is the owner. The other one is trying to dislodge that
I just want you to explain the overriding interest, why we have overriding interest over land. And I know you have applied to be a High Court judge and not an ELC judge, but some of these issues you might find them in family law, especially on issues around matrimonial property. So the overriding interest to land, maybe highlight 2 or 3 of them. Is trust among an overriding interest?
Yes, I would think so. Commissioner for Lands, they are disappearing.
They are disappearing. So kindly appraise yourself with resulting trust, and there is a Supreme Court decision to that effect. Otherwise, thank you very much. Sorry, you responded to the question by the Chief Justice about independence of the judiciary, challenges that hinder the full realization of independence of the judiciary, and your response was staffing. There is a general concern that maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, there were fewer Court of Appeal judges, there were fewer High Court judges, there were fewer magistrates, but the judges, the magistrates worked. Now we have the numbers, but the work is not being done. So what would you say with regards to efficiency, accountability, vis-a-vis independence of the judiciary?
Of course, independence comes with accountability. People have to be responsible. People have to show what it is that they are doing. And a lot has been done now towards, measuring what everyone is doing. And I think even if there is a feeling that people are not working as hard as they used to work then. I don't think that's factual. One of the things that has happened is many matters have come to our courts. Of course, we can do better. We can do better, and I'm sure with the systems we have now, especially now that work is being captured real time, people will be more accountable and more work will get done. And those who are not, working, it will be easier to see now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, Chair, and welcome once more, Honorable Thuku. Now I'll ask you only two brief questions. Judiciary has been going through a transformative agenda or journey, including a stage. What catalyst or key drivers do you think would be useful to apply in this transformation journey?
I think especially on stands. One of the things, I would say the two things around stands that will make us more faster is the opening up of the approach of how one gets to court or even gets disputes resolved. Especially when we adopt alternative dispute resolution, when we move many matters to mediation and now to AJS. I think those two, the opening of the means and avenues of getting our disputes resolved will have a big impact in the transformation.
Is there any role that ICT can play to expedite the journey?
A big role, Commissioner. Like now, seated here, I've been appointed to a committee that is dealing with the Mahakama Popote. And Mahakama Popote is based on technology, where we are moving our cases to other courts. And once announced fully, it will be a big change to the way we are doing our work, and service delivery will really improve, because Mahakama Popote is about access to justice, and those decisions can be collapsed. The cost of moving to those courts or having to move magistrates to where they are now stationed to the stations where work is. That is a big thing, and technology will really help us.
Fair enough. Now, how does the judiciary contribute to the national development goals of this country?
The judiciary has a mandate to be the one to resolve our disputes. And many investors in our country, or any country, we looked at how efficient, how independent, impartial, how that judiciary works, so that I know once I invest in this country, and if for whatever reason there's a dispute, that dispute will be resolved expeditiously, without corruption, impartially, and things will move. As opposed to when people go to courts and monies or projects get held up there. Some of them worth a lot of money because judiciary is not working properly. So a judiciary that works is a judiciary that moves our economy forward and contributes to prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon once again.
Afternoon, Commissioner.
Yes, I think most of the areas I wanted to cover with you have been covered by my colleagues. So the only thing I will do is to discuss with you your performance report. From DPOP, I believe you must have been served with a copy.
I have.
Yes, we are covering the period from 1st July 2023 to 31st December 2023. Yes, I see the report says that out of the expected contribution of 17%, you have done 16%. To start off, I would want to ask, this is a report from Kerugoya, by the way. I know you recently went to Mombasa, so we are dealing with the Kerugoya reporter.
Yes.
How many were you in Kerugoya?
By the time I was living in 5. Yes.
Now, what is your view about the distribution of work, comparing Kerugoya and other magistrates' court stations countrywide? Do you think you are well resourced in terms of hands on deck, or do you feel you are not very well resourced?
I would say we were.
Judicial officers, that
For judicial officers, I would say we were well resourced, because by the time I was leaving, we had reduced the remand period to about 3 weeks, so that if a matter is adjourned today, 2-3 weeks we give a date. So I would say Kerugoya we were well resourced.
Okay.
Yes.
So could you comment on the report? 16% out of the expected 17%? What is hampering your performance? I was making you lag behind.
That's 1 percentage point below FNS. Because if you look at that statement, it's from July to December.
Yes.
For Kerugoya. The month of November to December, I was already in Mombasa. So there are matters in terms of hearings, in terms of, when the other weeks I would have been on duty and taking place. So those 2 months, I'm not in Kerugoya. If one could just go back June and back, those percentages would be different. But also, maybe one can also say there's also the issue of administration. But Commissioner, I will not say that, because my previous reports show that I was actually above
the rest.
Yes, above the rest.
Okay, that explains it. But now you are in Mombasa, how are you managing balancing your administrative duties vis-a-vis the actual judicial work, the core function? Remembering that Mombasa is also a very heavy station. How are you managing that?
What happened when I went to Mombasa is that I found that there are divisions. There is civil division, there is criminal division. I inherited the docket that was held by my predecessor in the criminal division. We held a meeting with my colleagues in the criminal division, and we agreed that I cannot be taking plea every other time, all the time. So we have a duty roster. So they take a bit of the load off me, and there is also the issue of being the chief magistrate, and I think the one that follows me is SRM. I get to hear the ESCC matters. So we also
immediate followers at SRM?
Not in the criminal division.
Yes.
The ranks and the divisions. We agree that we can also organize our work in such a way that, because there are matters that will come to me because of jurisdiction, like the ESCC matters, those come to me, those others go to them. But we've organized it in a way that I will not get overloaded. People will not have their matters delayed because of my administrative duties, but they will also pick some weight of me, considering that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So it's not on yet. Fine. Article 73 talks about the responsibilities of leadership. Can you tell me what they are? Article 73 of the Constitution. If you can't recall that, you can go to...
Sorry, I can't recall it, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, what are the guiding principles of leadership and integrity? That's fairly general, and it's also in chapter 6.
You are a leader in your station, isn't it? You said you are in.
Yes.
You are head of station.
Yes.
In Mombasa.
Yes.
Yes. But you know the guiding principles of leadership and integrity under the Constitution.
Commissioner, I know them.
But they disappear because you are appearing before.
No, I'm just
Commissioner.
I don't want to say that, but yeah.
Okay, fine. Then let's look at, generally about leadership, and there are leaders who are transformational and others who are probably not.
Yes.
What would you consider yourself as?
Commissioner, I consider myself transformational. In that, in the places I have served,
Yes.
I have transformed the way of doing things. And judiciary, it's about service delivery. So I've been able to influence the judiciary staff and my colleagues towards a service delivery that addresses the needs of the people. So I consider myself a transformational leader.
Okay. In your career, what can you describe as your key achievements as a leader? You just told us a few minutes ago that you got inspired during the judiciary to do a few things differently.
Yes.
What are those things you've done that are different from probably what was going on, which you can pride yourself in?
Thank you, Commissioner. My first station that I headed was Marala in Samburu. And I can say one of the things I take pride in about my leadership in Marala is that when I went there, they had another court in Barago and another one in Wamba. But they would go there a month, they would go there for 6 months. We were able to put structures so that it became predictable. And I say that is something I've done in all stations where I've headed, where I put structures that are predictable, that are accountable, and anyone coming after me will be able to work around them. I also mentor officers who work under me, and I'm proud to say that there are 3 officers, magistrates who have worked under me, and after that they have become head of station who have won awards. And I look at them and say, it started with us, and I think we are doing very well.
Thank you. Just to refresh your mind on those other questions.
I will, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable CJ. Honorable Ithuku, maybe you could tell us of a time when your integrity was put to test, and perhaps how you went about it, any lessons that you drew from the incident, if any.
Thank you, Commissioner. What happens mainly in the work we do is that corruption thrives where systems are weak. And if I can say as an example, and this is something that can happen and happens, and it's about openness, because when I said that, and you realize there's nothing that big that will not have rated maybe the ruling, and you get that impression, because sometimes people are transparent in the
any restrictions on activities of state officers?
Yes, if I'm appointed, because some of the restrictions still apply to me as a judicial officer, is that I cannot be a judge, and I'm openly involved in politics, in activities that clearly show that I belong to one side and not the other. So my navigate life in a way that does not bring disrepute to the office or make people feel that I could be partial or working with one side and not the other.
So you've given us one restriction on political parties and your involvement. Any other? Maybe two? Just two more?
Also active involvement in just businesses, trading in a way that is open and could easily bring conflict when matters come to us.
Okay. Maybe you will refresh on that. My final question, I know you've been head of station for quite some time, and you've worked with the millennials, or the young people.
Yes.
Maybe tell us what is the place of millennials in the institution and how you would go about dealing with them to ensure that their performance is at optimal levels.
One of the things I've done, because I have them, is to understand them and to understand that their worldview is different from ours, or the people who have gone before us. And millennials, most of them are tech savvy. They grasp some of these things very fast. And we can put them in that space where those services are required. We can configure our operations in a way that responds to their talents and their skills. Then as an institution we can really benefit. There are some structures that maybe I've worked before and are not working for them. So I would say that is we understand them and we structure the organization in a way that allows them to work, especially when we're talking about adopting technology, being more flexible in the way we work, because previously it has to be this, if not this, there is a letter. But you realize that if you are flexible, then the production is still being what you wanted, maybe not in the hours you wanted. That's what I would say.
All right. Thank you very much, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Yes. Just to conclude on that, how have you used millennials in your court?
Members are law courts.
Yes, how have you used it?
This is what we've done.
Yeah.
In our court, and I think in many courts, we are having a problem with typing of proceedings. And one of the things that we keep complaining about is lack of typists, people who are designated as typists. Most of these millennials who are coming, they can type faster than most of them. So we have agreed with them that you don't have to be designated as typists. Get this file, type it for us, we have it then proofread, and that has turned around our waiting time in terms of, taking files to the High Court. That's what we've done.
Well done. This brings us to the end of the interview. Thank you for availing yourself. We will get in touch with you when we complete the process. But before we release you, we always give an opportunity to a candidate to ask us a question, if you have any.
Thank you very much, Your Lordship. I don't have a question, but I want to express my gratitude for being invited. Just coming here and having this conversation is enriching and gets, I'm sure, me to know what is in the judiciary working. It could also be a feedback mechanism for the Commission to know what we are doing. And I am grateful and hopeful that I'll be able to satisfy the Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All the best, and keep up the good work that you're doing to serve the people and find out what is good for the people. Have a nice afternoon.